Screen cleared off. When it's cold like this, you just have to have a little more commitment to each individual hole. I could show you here. I've only got one hole drilled, which seems weird for fishing a shack. You know, most people would have a set line with a minnow or something. But I'm not worried about it, because if I'm not marking fish, I'm just gonna be moving right away. I don't want to get settled in. And now, ready to start fishing. I got a fish on the screen right now. A nice big, tall, high mark. Here goes that freshly tied deer hair, as you can see. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Just broke my uni knot while I was pulling out of the guides. That's really lame. Okay, there's another one. And there are tons of fish on the screen here. Oh my goodness. Instant. Horse. Instant. That is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Are you seeing that thing? That is an absolute giant. I bet you that's 16 inches first fish. Look at that thing. I'm gonna put him in the tail so I don't spook that school. That's the deer hair that I just tied. Oh, gotta love fresh roadkill. That was unreal. There were so many fish on the screen. I didn't even know where I was, and it was just an instant strike. It's gonna happen again really quick here, I think. I can't see my jig for some reason. Boom, another one, another big one. Oh yeah, another horse. Oh, wow. Look at that. Horse. That's why I've got that tail ready to go with water. Because right now you can see there's still fish on the screen. See them still flickering there? I've got to lower this transducer a little bit. There's still fish flickering there, and I haven't spooked those fish. I can drop right back down into them. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Look at, this fish is coming right up for my jig. Got him already. Instant. Another big one. I'm just gonna pick through this whole school. Oh, a giant. Look at this thing. Look at that thing. This pail is getting really full. Now right now I'm not marking any fish, but that school could be just over to the side. Oh, there's a couple fish just off to the side. Where's my freaking jig? There's my jig. That's the first time I've seen my jig today. I must sound really silly right now. And I'm gonna just leave it there, and these fish are gonna come right up for it. Look at it, boom! Holy smokes. I've got my transducer so high so that I don't have to pull it out. Oh my goodness! Look at these horses! Look at that thing! Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to deal with these fish. I've got, I think 5 big crappies in there now. I gotta trim sensitivity again. Right there's my jig, look. Coming right up to it, instant. It's gonna be another instant strike. And that's the beauty with this deer hair. Like watch, I'm gonna get whacked right here. Boom, just got whacked. If I missed him, I wouldn't be worried about my pants getting pulled down by a plastic bait. I know. Oh my goodness. Sorry, every time it just shocks me when I see them come up. Look at this thing. Oh yeah, just gorgeous. If I got a hard hit and I missed it, I wouldn't want to sit down there with my rubber pulled down. So this way, this hair is always perfect. Look at that. It's absolutely perfect. I'm gonna go down again. Still got a fish there. You can see them coming up. Look, right to my jig. Boom. I would have a more clear signal if I drop my transducer down a bit, but I don't want to drop my transducer down because then I've got to fight it when I'm landing these fish. Because right now, I'm landing fish one after another. I don't want to stress these fish too much, but I'm scared I could spook the whole school away. Boom! This is just insane. That's why I'm using a big bait, because I'm singling out the big fish. This could be the biggest one yet. Oh, I've never seen a school like this before. See how far down he has that jig? I'm catching fish as fast as I want here, but I've got about 8 in this pail. So I'm gonna quickly deal with them. 15-inch fish, 15 3/4, 16 1/4, 16 even, 15 1/2, 16 and maybe an 1/8, and that one's just under 15. Look at this, all 16 inchers. All absolute giant fish. I'm gonna tuck them all back in. There goes 1, there goes 2, and there goes number 3. That was incredible. You gonna go, girl? Shoot that line hard. You know, I kept those fish in this thing of water, which obviously it stressed them a little bit, but you could tell by the way they kicked off hard and had really clear fins that those fish were in amazing shape. I'm gonna go right back down with that hair jig, courtesy of the side of the road.
Go over the acid base, sir.
Courtesy of the side of the road. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Welcome to Uncut Angling, little guy. Hope you don't mind. I'm just gonna borrow this right here. Hey, voila. Game on, baby. Little lesson for you here. If you want to have a fishing show, the first rule is branding. Fishing shows are 99% branding and 1% having fun and catching fish. Hold on a second. All right, like that. Yamaha, baby. Yamaha, 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 Yamaha. Gray Bill, get the insulated ones. You use way less propane. It's way quieter in a windy day. You won't regret it. As you can see, I'm riding with my auger and my flasher. Everything else I don't mind throwing in the toboggan to bounce around, just to make sure that they are good to go when the time comes, and the time is now. Let that warm up. It's minus 30 legitimately, not wind chill. Considering I've got the camera gear and it's this cold, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drill a strip of holes across this basin. I'm gonna check them all and I'm just gonna look for any sort of a flicker. I'm gonna set up the shack, we're gonna tie some jigs, and we're gonna get started. So this is my portable jig tying kit. If you watch Uncut Angling, you've seen it before. Got a few different materials in here. Marabou, which is just feathers. This is probably what I've caught more crappies on than anything, just feathers on a jig, which in my opinion does a better job of imitating like an insect or a bug of some kind. So it really shines in the spring and the summer, but by fall and winter, it doesn't do as good for a firm minnow profile. And of course, plastics are an amazing option for crappies. I've got a rubber minnow down there right now, just in case anything swims by. That's a Lake Fork tackle minnow. Plastics might be the best thing to coax spiders into because they're scented, they're soft, but I'm gonna tie up some bucktail jigs and hopefully show you some advantages of using bucktail jigs. I do have commercial grade bucktail here, but when you've got fresh frozen, why would you want the commercial grade? So, a couple very basic tools here. That is just a thread holder called a bobbin, and there's some fine scissors. The jig that I'm gonna tie it onto is a Northland Thumper jig. Got a blade on it. I'm more into this jig though for the hook size than the blade itself, so I've actually removed the blade. I'm gonna tie it onto that puppy right there. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a clump of hair, and right there, that is what the whole jig is gonna be made of. So I'm just gonna slap this on here. I'm gonna get the thread started on the jig like that, trim the tag end, lay that hair on there, work it onto the jig a little, and I'm gonna trim these tag ends around the head, and then this jig is finished. There it is. So I tied up a few more there while I had the vise out, and I have seen not much here, so I am going to move to the next spot. I'm gonna go right back down with that hair jig, courtesy of the side of the road. This rod that I'm using, actually all 4 of these rods here, are the exact same rod. This one's made by Frabill. It's a 26-inch quick tip. This would be my #1 pick as an all-around crappie rod. If you can find yourself any rod that's got that really fast tip on it, that is so key for these crappies because it allows them to take the bait without feeling that rod, and it allows you to see the strike. If you re-watch any of the footage from today, you'll be able to see the bites on this soft tip, and then right away the rod loads up and you can fight the fish. And what's equally important is the line I'm using, and this is Power Pro Ice, 5-pound test. What that line does is it actually is what I'm depending on to set the hook. It has no stretch, so no matter where that fish catches me in my stroke, I know that I'm gonna get that hook in. It makes such a big difference. If I'm using small jigs, like little tiny micro jigs, then I'll use mono, because I don't need to drive that hook home. But anytime I'm using a relatively big jig like this, I'm using no stretch braid to make sure I drive those hooks home. Here we go again. And you know, it really, at this point, with how these fish are crushing it, it wouldn't even matter what I was using. So this would be a good place for any fishing show to come, pretend that their hot bait is the magical lure. But what I am using is something that is durable and not gonna get ripped up or cause me any downtime. A jigging spoon would be really good too as a bait for aggressive suspended fish like this, because the hard part is just finding these fish, moving around throughout the day, and when it gets unreal cold out like it is right now, it makes it really inconvenient for searching for these hogs. When you get on a window like this, it is not going to be like this all day long, which is why when we get on a window like this, I need to be able to keep dropping down. Bang, 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 bang. Look at there's more fish down there waiting. Like, this is the absolute dream. Here comes my jig, and he is, boom, he's on. Just craziness. Especially when there's a school. When there's a big school, they get so competitive. Giant. Giant. He is, well, if I hang him with the mouth open, he's 16 and a quarter. So more like 16 even if it was lying flat. You can see after I fought that fish, the jig's hanging like kind of dorky. So this is a tip we've given before, but if you just straighten that knot out, then it'll hang nice and horizontal. The other thing you should do is see against the contrast of the tarp how bulky that knot is. I'm tying a double line knot, and there's a lot of double line knots you can tie, even if Palomar has a double line, but essentially what that's doing is I've got 2 lines grabbing the eye of the hook. That just grabs that much harder and helps keep it in position. You can picture if I just had, if that's the eyelet of the hook, if I just had 1 line through, it's really loose and slippery, whereas if you put 2 lines through and do a double knot, it just helps grab that hook that much better and keep it horizontal so that your bait's sitting how it should be in the water. You can see I'm just using the top part of my screen here. It's about 30 feet deep, and since all the marks I saw were up high, I'm basically using the whole screen as a zoom. Come on, what's going on? Oh wow, he lifted me up. Ridiculous. Like, this is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's still so many down there. Look at how freaking wide that fish is. It's also just under 16 inches. In great condition. There's the clear fins. And I'll just tuck them right back down. We definitely have time to talk if there's anything you want to talk about. If there's anything on your mind. Maybe you want to talk about all the 16-inch crappies that we just caught. Okay, yeah, we could talk about it. Oh, never mind. Big fish on the screen. A couple of them. Come on, bang.